I think the session is live now, and welcome to all the students who are joined to the YouTube live, and even the people who are in the Zoom sessions. So before starting the session, the Zoom students shouldn't leave the session even when the YouTube live session is over. तो जब भी even YouTube live session ख़त्म भी हो जाता है, तो the Zoom students shouldn't be leaving. Okay, I would be joining the Zoom people. Okay, so this session is live, and let's see how many people are there. So we have more than 2,000 people have joined the live session. Okay, that's good, very good. So all the people, इतने सारे लोग हो गए हैं, और YouTube live में भी हैं और Zoom में भी इतने लोग हैं. तो what I would like everyone is to interact. तो पहला पॉइंट तो यही है कि interact करना और active participation करना. So that what exactly will happen is you will be learning more when you will be participating actively rather than becoming an inactive part in the whole exercise. तो मैं इंग्लिश यूज़ करूँगा, हिंदी भी बोलूँगा और इंग्लिश भी बोलूँगा, और I would be repeating the things. So both the people wouldn't be missing anything. Okay, English people wouldn't be missing anything, और हिंदी वाले लोग भी कुछ भी मिस नहीं करेंगे, क्योंकि मैं चीज़ें रिपीट कर रहा हूँ दोनों लैंग्वेजेस में. अच्छा, ओके, वंस मोर आई एम रिपीटिंग, द Zoom पीपल शुडंट लीव द सेशन इवन व्हेन, जब YouTube लाइव ख़त्म भी हो जाता है तब भी आपको लीव नहीं करना है. ओके, आई वुड बी जॉइनिंग द Zoom पीपल. अच्छा, नाउ लेट्स स्टार्ट विद द मेन थिंग. We are talking today about the reading comprehension, and we are talking mainly about the main idea. Main idea is the main elephant in the room. Okay, so that's what we are talking about. Now, मैं अगर आपकी तरह एक स्टूडेंट होता तो पहला सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन आज होना चाहिए कि why we are talking about reading comprehension. Reading comprehension में ऐसा क्या है? So much concentrating and so much talking about reading comprehension and even the main idea. Now, when you talk about the reading comprehension per se, अगर आप देखें अपने स्कूल और कॉलेज के टाइम्स में भी रीडिंग कॉम्प्रीहेंशन का मतलब बेसिकली क्या होता था कि हम एक लैंग्वेज स्किल्स को चेक करते थे. सो इन द ऑल द स्कूलिंग टाइम्स एंड इवन इन द कॉलेज टाइम्स, what we used to, when we talk about the reading comprehension, the main thing used to become the language part of the skills, vocabulary skills, reading skills, maybe literary kind of skills. But whenever अब जो आप बात कर रहे हैं when we are talking right now about the IQ based kind of a testing, what exactly in that testing happens is वही reading comprehension will not be talking about the language skills but more of an IQ kind of a skills. Now the question might be, what is the IQ skills? Okay, now in an IQ, when I would be checking the IQ skills, it would be more like I would be telling a story and would be asking questions based upon that story. Why reading comprehension is so much important is वो सभी लोगों को एक neutral platform पे खड़ा कर देता है. So what exactly happens is, even अगर आप English honors students हैं और even आप engineer हैं, आप doctor हैं, everyone would be in the same kind of a platform. Reason being, एक story बता रहा है कोई और उसमें questions पूछ रहा है, and that's what all reading comprehension is all about. Okay, so the skills right now they wouldn't be checking is the vocabulary skills, reading skills, literary skills. ये सब check नहीं होगा, कोई भी part of the language skills check नहीं होगा. So this is not an IELTS or a PT or a TOEFL test. This is an IQ based testing in which you may talk about CUET, you may talk about SAT, CAT or a GMAT. Okay, now the one more thing you should be asking, so many people are sitting, I would like everyone to concentrate on a very important aspect. आप जब भी कोई चीज़ को अपने आसपास होते देखें, इवन आप इस सेशन को भी देखें, तो you should be asking a very important question is concentrate upon an aspect which is called a why question. Okay, ये why question बहुत important question है और बहुत powerful question है. You may have questions like what, interrogative sentences आपने पढ़ा हुआ है जिसमें what, why, any kind of a question you can ask. But the most important question which I think is very powerful question is a why. Why we are talking about reading comprehension is the most important part of the today's session. Okay, and why only the main idea point. See, the main idea is the main kind of a summarization, or I would say the central idea of the whole passage or a comprehension or a paragraph, whatever it comes like. Now, a important question which should be asked right now is why an IQ test checks English? Okay, and why it is checking quant. Okay, so the point which is most important is the answer stands that this English and maths is the most universal language known to humankind right now. So what exactly happens is quant, or I would say maths, becomes a very universal language for everyone. Even जो लोगों को बोलना भी नहीं आता होगा वो भी मैथ स्किल्स करते हैं, वो भी मैथ्स यूज़ करते हैं अपने डेली लाइफ में, या रादर एवरी मिनट में भी यूज़ करते हैं मैथ्स को. सो मैथ्स बिकम्स ए वेरी यूनिवर्सल लैंग्वेज. नाउ द अदर पार्ट, the most important part is the why English is being used as a thing, and that the answer stands the same. The English is a very much यूनिवर्सल लैंग्वेज जो बहुत लोग बोलते हैं, और वो उसी लैंग्वेज को वो टेस्ट कर रहे हैं आपकी IQ टेस्ट करने के लिए, एंड दैट्स वेयर द इंग्लिश एंड क्वांट comes into CAT, CUET, GMAT, SAT, all kind of a testing. Now, in that all aspects, when we take, let's say I'm talking about reading comprehension, उसमें language skill sets या language points को हटा दूँ, तो what exactly we have is the main idea things. Now, in an IQ based testing, there are 3 types of questions which an RC would be asking. One thing is the main idea, central idea, summary, topic. The second would be very specific based questions, like they would be talking about some paragraph, some sentence of the thing, or some very specific knowledge of the thing. The third most important thing which an IQ test will be talking about is the critical reasoning based questions. तो 3 तरह के questions हुए, main idea, specific और CR based question. CR based question अभी हम उस पर नहीं जा रहे हैं इस सेशन में. We will be going in the further sessions. So what exactly is happening in this reading comprehension main idea is we are talking about the central theme or central idea of the passage. Why it is so much important to practice the main idea is because all the IQ based testing actually is based upon the main idea. What exactly I am saying is, अगर आपको एक पैसेज का मेन आइडिया क्लियर है तो आपको सारा पैसेज के आंसर्स would be very easy for you. Now, whatever the question it might be, आपको क्वेश्चन में हो सकता है कि मेन आइडिया ना पूछा जा रहा हो, but then also the main idea of a passage or a comprehension is the most important part of the whole IQ testing. So that's why we are talking about the main thing, and that is the main idea, or that's the main elephant in the room. Any questions till now? कोई बच्चे को कोई questions पूछने हैं तो you can please ask. Everyone is free to chat right now, so they can put any questions, any relevant questions till now. Okay. So we have already, आप concentrate करिए why aspect. तो IQ testing में RC क्यों यूज़ होता है और IQ testing में main idea इतना important क्यों है. Now, questions before moving into the passage, I'll move into a passage right now and I'll talk about the main idea. What is the main idea? I'll just थोड़ा सा brief कर देता हूँ so that everybody is in the same, same kind of a understanding. Main idea, if I call it, हम बोलेंगे it's the soul of the paragraph. Okay. Now, whenever anyone is writing any passage or any writing, it might be, the main thing that person would be having is a purpose. Okay, purpose of a writing. Now, purpose of a writing is very much aligned to the main idea or the central idea of any writing. Okay. Now, an important question which can come right now, which the student should be asking me is the main idea mentioned in the passage? The answer is yes and no. So, there can be a situation, and in an IQ testing, if I talk about a CAT or a GMAT, पक्का होगा कि वो नहीं होगा पैसेज में. So, what exactly in a science, in physics, there is a concept called center of gravity. तो सेंटर ऑफ ग्रेविटी मीन्स बेसिकली आप अगर नॉन साइंस स्टूडेंट्स हैं तो वो ऐसा कॉन्सेप्ट है कि जिस पे आप मान सकते हैं कि पूरा उसका मास या पूरा एक बॉडी का सेंटर, एक मास का एक सेंट्रल पॉइंट है. द पॉइंट bringing it to the reading comprehension part is, let me align it with the reading comprehension. The main idea may or may not be mentioned in the passage. और अच्छा, अगर IQ टेस्ट अच्छा बनाओ, अच्छा एक पैराग्राफ कोई बनाएगा तो मेन आइडिया कभी भी मेंशन नहीं होगा पैराग्राफ में. I'll give a very clear, very easy example to you. Let's say I'm trying to give some writing against, let's say, any person, let's say. I'm writing something against a person or against any party or against any idea. So even if I'm not mentioning that person in the passage, even if I'm not mentioning that idea in the passage, then also I will be aligning the whole writing in such a way so that it is actually hitting that person or an idea, even if I'm not mentioning that person in the passage. So what the point I'm making is, main idea ऐसा हो सकता है कि passage में mention ही कहीं ना हो. Now, when you are checking the main idea, what exactly is going to happen is, आप क्या करेंगे? You would be using the answers which are usually mentioned in the passage. Okay, but as I told you, the main idea is aligned with the purpose of the thing, and purpose obviously you don't know the author का पता नहीं, author का even what author क्या purpose है तो obviously नहीं पता है. So that's why the point I'm making, the main idea, the central idea may or may not be mentioned in the passage. Okay, now before moving to the passage, I'll show you a passage and I'll try to tell you how exactly the main idea you have to pull out from the passage. Now, in that aspect, one of the two things which I would be doing is, let's say I am going to introduce you to a passage with 4 to 5 paragraphs. What we are going to do is, we are going to put some signpost in every kind of a paragraph. तो वो मैं एक passage लूँगा, मैं आपको बताऊँगा how exactly the main idea have to be pulled out of the passage, which I will show you after some time. Before moving into the main thing, I'll just थोड़ा चीज़ें I'll just tell you. In an IQ testing, keep in mind very important perspective, and that is your language skills are not going to be checked. ओके, ये पर्सपेक्टिव बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है आपके लिए. अब आप पूछ सकते हैं कि इसका हमें फ़ायदा क्या है. फ़ायदा ये है कि जब मुझे पता है कि क्या चेक हो रहा है, तो मैं उसी तरह से पढ़ाऊँगा और आप ऐसे स्टूडेंट वुड बी कॉन्सेंट्रेटिंग द सेम काइंड ऑफ ए स्किल्स. नाउ द पॉइंट व्हाट आई एम सेइंग इज, इफ़ आई एम सेइंग कि लैंग्वेज के एस्पेक्ट चेक नहीं हो रहे हैं, जैसे कि मैंने पहला पॉइंट ले लेते हैं कि वोकैबुलरी चेक नहीं होता है. नाउ बट लेकिन वोकैबुलरी नहीं पता होगा तो हाउ यू विल अंडरस्टैंड द पैसेज. इन मोस्ट ऑफ द IQ टेस्टिंग व्हाट एग्जैक्टली इज द मेथड यूज्ड इज कि लैंग्वेज का जो रीडिंग या अंडरस्टैंडिंग स्किल्स या रखा जाता है वो आपके ग्रेजुएशन लेवल बुक्स तक ही रखा जाता है. लेट्स से इफ आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट CAT और ए GMAT लेवल थिंग, so if you are able to understand your course books, let's say maybe a physics, maybe history, maybe civics or geography, whatever the stream you are in, if you are able to understand that books, then your English skills is very good. Then you are very much qualified to handle any kind of a passage in any GMAT or a CAT or any high level thing. Why I'm not talking about CUET and SAT right now? थोड़ा सा lower level of IQ testing है, so I'm just concentrating on the highest level so that you understand my point. So the point what I'm saying is, in vocabulary कभी भी check नहीं होगा. Now you may say कि आप हज़ारों लोग आपको बोलते होंगे vocabulary. Usually passages में difficult words होगा, लेकिन हमेशा उसका एक context meaning होगा. The point what I'm trying to say is, when in an IQ test, whenever they are using any difficult words or any technical jargons even, अगर technical jargon है, they would be telling what exactly that means. Okay. अगर difficult words है, English words हैं, they would be, वो context meaning बड़ा clear होगा. I meant to say, even without knowing that difficult word, I would be able to handle or come out with the main idea or the central idea of the passage or a paragraph. Now the next thing which I'm going to talk about is the reading skills. हम कहते हैं कि रीडिंग स्पीड मैटर करती है कि नहीं, ये मैंने बहुत ये क्वेश्चन क्लासेस में आता है. नाउ ऑब्वियसली ये जितने भी IQ टेस्ट हैं उसमें टाइम कम होता है और सो मेनी थिंग्स टू रीड. फॉर एग्जांपल 4 पैसेजेस इफ आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट CAT और GMAT, इतना कम टाइम है एंड सो मेनी पैसेजेस टू रीड, एंड ऑब्वियसली आफ्टर दैट 4-5 क्वेश्चंस हैं, तो यू विल हैव अ डिफिकल्टी. द ऑब्वियसली वेरी लॉजिकल कंक्लूजन एनीवन कैन हैव इज, हाँ जी इसमें देयर विल बी लॉट ऑफ you need to read very fast. The idea is you don't have to actually. As I told you, पर्सपेक्टिव बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. पर्सपेक्टिव क्या बता रहा है आपको कि आपको in a way, जब अगर लैंग्वेज स्किल्स नहीं है तो रीडिंग स्पीड का मैटर नहीं करेगा. सो आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड फॉर द पीपल हु आर स्टडिंग फ्रॉम द यूट्यूब. नाउ जैसे कि कोई प्रॉब्लम होता है तो अपने आप ही उसका सॉल्यूशन क्रिएट हो जाता है. तो इन द सेम वे व्हाट एग्जैक्टली विल हैपन इज, sorry, my chat window collapsed and the video stopped. Okay, so what I was saying, yes, so I was talking about the fast reading aspect. Now I can understand in all the IQ testing what exactly happens is time is very short, so that it becomes a problem. So you have to do a lot of questions, 4 comprehensions with questions, with para summaries, para things, and so many less time. So obviously it's a problem statement that you need to do fast. Now what exactly I can see, if there is a problem statement तो solutions भी होगा. So there are a lot of videos on YouTube and everything, people talking about how to read fast and everything. Let me put it very straight to you. It doesn't matter actually you are reading fast or very slow. Let's say you are the most slowest reader in the whole school, or even in the college, even in your class. It doesn't matter to you. So what exactly matters is if you are going back to the passage. So what the point I'm making is कि अगर मैंने एक ही रीडिंग में if I learned the whole thing, then that's what is expected from me. So what exactly you are supposed to do is, even if you're a slow reader, fast reader, then the whole focus should be on the understanding part. Am I able to understand the paragraph or a passage or a sentence? Okay. If with whatever the speed it might be, speed doesn't matter. The only thing which matters is regression, going back to the passage. अगर वो passage में आप दोबारा जाकर उस पैसेज को रीड करना पड़ रहा है तो दैट्स ए प्रॉब्लम एरिया. ओके, सो व्हाट एग्जैक्टली इज द ट्रिक है? द ट्रिक इज टू एक्टिवली पार्टिसिपेट इन द होल थिंग. इवन इन ये क्लास में भी कितने अभी लोग हैं, 2000 से अभी भी लोग ऊपर ही हैं, तब भी द व्हाट एग्जैक्टली हैपन्स इज, तो अगर आप अभी इसमें कितने लोग एक्टिवली पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे होंगे? ओनली 1% ऑफ द पर्सन पीपल. So what the point I'm saying is, if you are actively participating in the whole thing, what exactly will happen is you would not need to, there is no need for you to go back to the passage. So that's what is needed from you. Actively participate karo, become a member of that, become a part of that total talk. Okay, take positions or bring your idea forward, or both actively उसमें रहो, even in the class and everything. तो आप सब एक्टिवली पार्टिसिपेट करो एंड यू विल लर्न मोर. इन द सेम वे रीडिंग में भी इट डजंट मैटर्स वेदर यू रीडिंग फास्ट, स्लो, वट एवर द वे इट माइट बी, रीडिंग स्पीड डजंट मैटर्स. द होल फोकस इज ऑन द अंडरस्टैंडिंग एस्पेक्ट. नाउ द थर्ड थिंग वी कैन टॉक अबाउट इज द लिटरेरी स्किल्स. बिल्कुल नहीं चाहिए. इंग्लिश स्किल्स, लैंग्वेज स्किल्स, ग्रामर स्किल्स, नॉट नीडेड. द ओनली थिंग, द स्किल विच यू नीड इन एन IQ टेस्ट is your understanding part. Are you able to understand the whole passage or not? Okay, so now it's time we should be moving into the passage, and let's switch to the passage. आप switch करिए, switch passage पे पूरा वीडियो को switch कर लीजिए. So this is one of the passage we are talking about. ये passage ना ही difficult में आएगा ना ही easy में आएगा, but this passage what it will do is it will actually tell you exactly what the main idea is, how to extract the main idea, and what are the various elements in the language which you need to answer the question. Okay, so this has been taken from the EON essays. So you may or may not be able to find it in any kind of books or anything. So you have, if you want to see this passage, you can go for the EON essays and online, and you can find it. Now, let me start by some rules. What we are going to do is, we are going to read paragraph by paragraph, and not only that, we are also going to paraphrase each and everything. Paraphrase, or we may call it as a signpost strategy. Basically, what we are going to do is, we are going to have our signpost whenever we are crossing any paragraph. For every paragraph, we are going to put one of the signpost. Okay, so the first paragraph I'm reading. When the radioactivity was discovered at the end of, you can see the cursor, I think, movement. Sorry. At the end of the 19th century, it surprised scientists. Radioactive decay could transmute one element to another, a conversion previously thought would possible only in the dreams of alchemists. In the process, mysterious beams of energy were emitted from the source material, beams that were at first mistaken for a type of light, but soon revealed to be something else altogether. By examining the extent to which these radioactive emissions were able to penetrate through other materials, scientists realized that there was a different types of decay. Now, alpha decay resulted in the emission that could be blocked by a thin sheet of paper, whereas gamma decay resulted in the emission that could be stopped by anything short of a very thick layer of lead. Now, lead is a metal, okay? Now, there are many things which, let's say, let's focus on some of the difficult words here. I may, मुझे हो सकता है पता ही ना हो कि ये ट्रांसम्यूट होता क्या है, ओके? सो आई मे नॉट नो, मुझे ट्रांसम्यूट का मतलब नहीं पता है. लेट्स से मुझे तो इवन alchemist भी मतलब पता नहीं है. Let's say I'm just giving an example to you. Now, even if I'm looking at the words like transmute here, this word I'm talking about, even let's say if I'm not able to understand the word, am I able to understand the contextual meaning? The answer is yes. So when we look at the contextual meaning, it means something, some change. I think it is talking about. Now, the second word we look at, alchemist. Now, this word I may or may not know the meaning, but does it hampers my understanding of the main idea? That's what we are going to look at. Now, if I have to give a paraphrase or some words, what I am able to understand, जो मुझे समझ आया है, उसके बेस पे, let's say if I'm able to have some words, the first word obviously is the radioactivity. So, okay, this is the first words I'm going to understand. It is giving, I think, two rays. One is alpha and one is gamma. So this is my paraphrase, or I will call it my first signpost. Now, what exactly I'm going to do is, with every paragraph, I'm going to put some signpost. Why I'm paraphrasing each and every paragraph in my own words is, जब मैं उसका मेन आइडिया जनरेट करूंगा या मैं सेंट्रल आइडिया जनरेट करूंगा, आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू लुक एट द पैसेज, आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू रीड द पैसेज or a paragraph. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the paraphrasing which I have done, and I will try to create my main idea on the basis of the paraphrasing which I have done. Okay, till this time I think everyone is able to understand. Now the second, let's say I'm talking about the paragraph in terms of the penetrating power. Third type of decay, beta decay or the beta decay, was neither exceptionally weak or not exceptionally strong. These emissions could penetrate paper but not sheets of metal. So it was not alpha and not even gamma. That's what we are able to understand. By the year 1900, scientists knew that the beta decay was a process that emitted electrons, but experiments on these emitted electrons raised a mystery of their own, whereas other type of radioactive emissions always had a discrete amount of energy which was characteristic of the source material. The electrons that were emitted during beta decay took a continuous range of energy values. I think you are able to see the cursor, so move your eye according to the cursor. This result, which was called the continuous beta spectrum, meant that if you took two electrons that have been emitted from the very same source material during beta decay, one of these electrons sometimes had lesser energy than the other, and the difference in the amount of energy between the two electrons varied. Now, there is not any word which is very difficult to understand, but even if you are finding any phrase or a clause which is very difficult to understand, try to have a contextual meaning of it, and you would be able to move out or come out with the main idea of the past thing. Now, what they are talking about is the electrons, whatever is coming out, uh, uh, the rays which are coming out. Firstly, it is not alpha and not even gamma. So what they are going to talk about is they are saying that the electrons which are coming out in the they are talking about some spectrum, and in that spectrum there is a continuous range of energy values. What exactly they mean is, for example, um, if electrons are coming from the same source, the energy should be the same for every energy electron coming out of it. I will give an example to you. The point they're saying is the electron should share, should have a very discrete amount. अगर electron का हम spectrum देखें, so it should have a very discrete spectrum positioning. But in this we have continuous spectrum. The point is they are saying it is a continuous spectrum. So the point is there is some mystery they are talking about, I think. So they are talking about some mystery and they are talking about two rays and they are not able to explain the continuous spectrum. Till this time everyone is clear. Anyone having any problem till now they can write in the chat. I think everyone is clear. Any issues? Let me look at the chat. Okay, so everyone is able to understand till now. So let's say this is my second signpost. So now these two signposts, if I'm just adding, what I'm able to understand is we are talking about radioactivity. I'm just adding the two paraphrase we have done. Radioactivity हम बात कर रहे हैं, दो रेज का बात कर रहे हैं, alpha, gamma. But there is some mystery about something else being there. Reason being the electron should be having a very discrete energy, लेकिन discrete मतलब अलग अलग हो energy एक अगर किसी का 2 है तो 2 ही होगा और 6 है तो 6 ही रहेगा लेकिन इसमें हमें continuous band दिख रहा है. I'll give a graph like to make you more able to understand. If continuous energies आ रहा है तो वो ग्राफ ऐसे भी मूव कर सकता है या whatever the way it might move, but it should have a very distinct points. That's what the passage is saying. We will not move into scientific things. Right now we are looking at the RC aspect of the whole thing. Now the third paragraph I'm going to talk about right now is this one. Where did the energy that is present in one case and missing the other case go? This was a crucial question because if it could not be answered, beta decay would involve a violation of the conservation of energy. What they're saying is, अगर वो एक continuous spectrum and the electrons are having different energy levels, that it means that there is some violation of the conservation of energy. Some of the greatest experimental physicists of the time revisited this surprising result again and again. But more than 18 years after the continuous beta spectrum was first observed, it still wasn't clear what explained it. So, we will say the same kind of a paraphrasing we can do. We haven't moved forward. The mystery remains. Okay, so this is the third signpost for me. Okay, till this time I think everyone is clear. Anyone having any questions, they can always say it in chat. Now I'm reading the fourth paragraph, and this is the paragraph I'm reading right now. In December 1930, Wolfgang Pauli, okay, penned an open letter to a group of nuclear physicists who were gathering for a meeting in Germany. Germany, this word should be Tübingen. So they were meeting in Tübingen. Pauli was just 30 years old, but already well known for his work on relativity and foundations of quantum theory. So he was a well-known guy, including the Pauli exclusion principle. I think science people would understand what it is. He has been puzzling over the continuous beta spectrum for several years. Dear radioactive ladies and gentlemen, let us begin. I have respect the continuous beta spectrum hit upon a desperate remedy. Now we are having many things which we may not be able to understand, but then also main idea we still understanding, and it remains the same main idea, the mystery they are still pondering about what exactly the aberration or what exactly that mystery is, that alpha as well as the gamma ray are not explained. The point they're saying radioactivity should have alpha and gamma ray, लेकिन इसमें और भी है. So many things you may not be able to understand. What is a Pauli exclusion principle? What is quantum? What is relativity? Now you may not be able to understand these things, but then also you have to concentrate on the soul of the paragraph, the purpose of the paragraph, or I would say the central idea or the main idea. And the main idea is still the same. What exactly the main idea till now? Let's say we have we have already read. So we've taken what four paragraphs we've done. So after reading the four paragraphs, what we have is we are talking about radioactivity. We are talking about two rays, alpha and gamma, and we are talking about some mystery, some ray, or might be is something which we will be knowing in the subsequent paragraphs. Haji. So last one. So the Pauli suggestion was that the beta decay produced in addition to the observed electron another heretofore unobserved particle, and we call this particle the neutron. Okay, because it could have been in neither positive nor negative electric charge. On this model, the amount of energy required each beta decay event as a whole is discrete. But that energy could, in a range of ways between the electrons and the Pauli's new particles, the energy of the electron would take a continuous range of values. So there is a one explanation to the thing. So let's say if I'm using, this is the last paragraph for me. So let's say if I'm talking about all the five paragraphs, and if I'm trying to create a main idea looking at my signpost, what exactly that main idea, that word should have? The sentence should have radioactivity. Is everyone with me? Sorry, radioactivity. It is going to talk about alpha and gamma ray. And what is the third thing my main idea should have? There was some mystery or some issue, some unexplained thing. And the last thing is neutron soul set. So this is the main idea or whole of the paragraph, and this is what my main idea should have. So what exactly I'm trying to say is you should have your main idea before moving into the questions. Reason being, if you'll move into the answer options without having your answer, there is a 100% chance of you not being able to understand, come out with the main the right answer. आपको right answer नहीं मिलेगा. And even if you're marking the right answer, you wouldn't be sure whether it's the right answer. Reason being, you were not आप तैयार नहीं थे या आप attentive नहीं थे कि आपका आंसर should be ready before moving into the answer option. Now this is what I am searching for. Let's move into the answer options now, and let's see, is my main idea, if I am having the main idea, is it bringing me to the right answer? I am once more explaining, I'm once more telling you, even the people who score in the top 1 percentile of the verbal test, if you ask them, they wouldn't be very sure about whether they marked it correct or not. Why this happens is when you are not when you don't have an answer before moving into the answer choices. There can be a situation even if you are moving into the answer choices, your answer may not be there. But then also, in 99% of the cases, if you have your main idea with you, that answer will help you to eliminate other options and to come out with the thing. Now, one more question I have for everyone. Are we trying to find a correct answer, or are we trying to find the best answer? So in an IQ test, there is nothing called a correct answer. It is always the best answer. So what I'm trying to say is there can be situations in an IQ test where all the answers are right. There can be situation in IQ test where all the answers are wrong. So you have to always concentrate upon the best answer. Let's me move. So you have to eliminate each and every option before marking the correct thing. Let me read the first one. The discovery of the radioactivity in various forms, while initially perplexing, ultimately led to the comprehensive understanding of the nuclear physics and the conservation of energy. Yes, let me ask you, is the answer correct? Answer is correct, but it is very broad. So it is not correct in the IQ terms, but logically speaking, this is a correct answer. So you understand the difference between the logic and every answer being correct, and we are trying to find the best answer. Now let's look at the second option, B option. The unexpected behavior of the beta decay. Yes. Specifically the continuous beta spectrum. Correct. Challenge established scientific principles. Correct. And gave the postulation of a newer subatomic particle. Now this is a very close answer to which what हमारा main idea. This is gelling with this. But let's check with the other things even. Early 20th century physicists, despite their rigorous experimentation, struggled to reconcile the observed properties of radioactive emissions with the fundamental law of physics. Very broad. Discuss very broad scope. लेकिन is it correct? Answer is correct. But it's a both broad, very broad scope. It is not a bullseye answer. Wolfgang Pauli, theoretical contribution, yes. The postulation of the neutron, correct. Resolved a long-standing aberration in the beta decay, correct. And solidified the principle of energy conservation in nuclear reactions. Very good. This answer is also very correct. But this answer comes very close to this answer. So these two options right now is our matter of concern. Now the last one, the progression of the scientific understanding from the initial discovery of radioactivity to the resolution of beta decay energy discrepancy illustrate the basic nature of basic, correct? Lekin both broader. This is correct logically, but so wrong. So this is also we should say the wrong here. Cannot take a meat, cannot be taken. Now let's look at B and C. Now we are into the elimination mode. Now, when we look at D in particularly, we at the postulation of neutron resolved a long-standing aberration in the beta decay and solidified the principle. Are we solidifying the principle of energy conservation? So this is correct, but it is turned into a very narrow range. So thoda sa, it is lesser, it is less better or worse than the B. B is bullseye. B is totally gelling with our main idea. So this is a perfect example. So B is correct answer. So what the point I'm saying is, if you are moving to the answer without you having your answer, 99% of the people will mark it wrong. Number one. Number two, we are always choosing the best answer, never a correct answer. Number three, elimination is a bigger point rather than selection. So you are eliminating rather than selecting. And what the most important thing is, once more I repeating, the main idea is a backbone of every passage that actually aligns with the purpose of the author, purpose of the person who's writing it. Till the time you are clear about the main idea, you wouldn't be able to answer any question in an IQ test. Whether don't go with that understanding in which people say, look at the question and then move into the passage. Never ever do that. Read the passage, try to get the soul of the passage. If you are with, अगर आपको soul या main idea clear है, सारे answers अपने आप clear हो जाएंगे. Even the critical reasoning or anything. But the point what I'm trying to say is, question की बात तो बात की है. First of all, the focus should be on the understanding and understanding the main idea. If you are able to generate one sentence of the main idea correctly, all the answers will align with you. All the answers will become very easy. Your accuracy would be 100% and you would be scoring more than 99% in verbal. And that's what in every IQ test, the focus lies upon. So this passage when you're talking about is not very difficult and not very easy either. तो थोड़ा सा medium difficulty level passage था. Now what are the major learnings which you had from here? The first learning is, in all the IQ test, there is nothing called the correct answer or a wrong answer. So there is only one concept and that is the best answer. So once more repeating this point, हिंदी में repeat कर रहा हूँ, कोई भी आंसर सही या गलत नहीं होता है. ऐसा सिचुएशन हो सकता है कि सारे आंसर्स करेक्ट हों और सारे आंसर गलत हों. सो द पॉइंट व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से इज you are not choosing the correct answer, you are choosing the best answer. Okay, the first point of learning. Number 2, main idea may or may not be mentioned in the passage. So what exactly most of the people, when they are doing these kind of a test, is they will try to align with an answer which is actually mentioned in the passage, and that's a trick. Now what exactly happens is,